Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to kick out the jams to keep the buzz going with historic Detroit rock and roll recorded live on stage. MC5, James Gang, James Cotton, Third Power, Amboy Dukes. You're not going to want to miss this. And the Bees need your help to keep the buzz going. Brought to you by United Earth Fund. Let's hear about the Detroit rock scene from manager John Sinclair.
Everybody in bands in those days, if you remember, everybody liked each other. We were all friends. We were friends with the Rationals. We were friends with the SRC, Wilson Mower, Third Power. All the whatever bands there were, we were all pals, and we all pulled for each other.
Is there anything that you'd like to talk about or mention?
No, I just like what you're doing. The Grandy was the epicenter of the activity that sprang up in Detroit during that period, which was so exciting. And you were there recording it. That was a great thing from my point of view, and I'm glad you're still alive today and trying to get the shit out. Well, I remember meeting you in the Grandy parking lot. You were trying to get in. You were 15. You weren't allowed in on the age limit. And you said, if you can get me in, I'll record the band and give you his copy of the tape. And that sounded good to me because from the band point of view, there wasn't any other way we could get a recording. We had no idea what we sounded like. So I thought, this is a good deal, the kid. I'll just say he's okay, and then he'll give me a tape, and then we'll know what we sounded like. So that's a part of it I remember. And then you would turn up at different gigs, and I would always try to get you in because I thought what you were doing was really cool. To make a recording in those days before cassettes, you had to have it's like a desktop computer now to a laptop. You had to have a big machine, about this big, about that tall, and you had to have the 5-inch or 7-inch reels of tape. And it was quite complex, and not everybody could have one because they cost a lot of money. But I don't know, I always assumed that it was your dad's, am I correct? Because usually when you knew somebody who had one, it was their dad's.
I interviewed the guy that went the night you took us into the Cream concert. He says, yeah, I remember when John let us in, he came downstairs and he had big bushy hair and a joint in each ear.
Behind each ear, yeah. Not like a banana in the ear.
I can remember being dropped off by my father in a 1963 Ford station wagon. We had some cheap microphones and an old tape recorder that belonged to Steve Donaghy's father. We stopped off at the front of the Grandy Ballroom and were met by John Sinclair. I recall that he had 2 joints in his hair. He had a big afro and granny glasses and bell-bottom trousers, pot belly kind of hanging out over his waist. We went up the steps to the Grandy Ballroom, and there was a couple little debates as to whether we were allowed to record or not, until, if I recall, Mr. John Sinclair said, that's Al LeCarey. He can record. And everyone said, okay.
Bee lover alert. It's about honey, not money. United Earth Fund welcomes you to the Kick Out the Jams to Save the Bees public awareness campaign. UEF's emergency ABC rescue plan will set up 6 initial college chapters, with the first B-Team chapter opening at the University of Michigan. Student chapters will support the B-Team High School Wire and B-Team stewards that will implement the emergency bee-box rollout to keep the bees buzzing. There are 3 parts to the rescue plan. First, raise fun with historic Detroit world-class rock and roll. Second, B-Team work-study students and interns research, build, and publish the endangered species reports. The public awareness campaign includes ongoing bee-aware commercial spots with the ABCs of how to keep the bees buzzing. Third, student teams engage public schools, families, and bee lovers to help roll out the Emergency Bee Box initiative. This is going to be fun, but we need your help.
Our pollinators are in peril. They work tirelessly for us, and now, through this project, we have the chance to do the same for them. Hello, my name is Caitlin Tatro, a proud Dearborn student, and I'm here to talk to you about our project. As far as we know, up to 95% of Earth's plants rely on animal-involved pollination. But pollinators are disappearing. Habitat loss, pesticides, and starvation are only a few of the factors affecting their numbers. Michigan bee species across the board have declined by 50%. The rusty-patched bumblebee has even been declared extinct in our state. It's for these reasons that our project is so important. By getting our community involved with insect hotels, we can help bolster pollinator populations and stewardship. Insect hotels are simply the birdhouses of the insect world, providing nesting sites and shelter for many types of beneficial insects. They are incredibly easy to build and require little maintenance once installed. The easiest designs are made out of wood and other natural materials, such as bark, twigs, bamboo, and pine cones, and designs are limited only by our imagination. The goal of the project is to bring these insect hotels into our own backyards. By partnering with public schools and local residents, everyone participates in the best form of citizen science, one which benefits all members of the community. Students will be involved in all aspects of the project, including designing, building, and installing, along with mapping their respective locations. Information about the project, including the type and location of each, will be made available. The project will provide homes for pollinators and foster public learning opportunities for pollinator conservation and management. Pollinators are any organism involved in the movement of pollen from the male to female reproductive organs of flowering plants. When we hear the word pollinator, we automatically think of bees, but really, they come in many different shapes and sizes.
One of the things, one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest problems relating to the disappearance of a lot of these native bees has been the loss of their nesting sites. We can replace the nesting sites by putting up some of these boxes. They're called bee boxes, where you can kind of imitate something that they need in terms of, burrowing into a piece of wood. And homeowners can do that. You'd be amazed by all the different kinds of solitary bees that will nest in there. And then also, you can provide, of course, the pollen resources. So when a bee goes to a flower, it's going to get pollen a lot of the time for its larvae. The flower also is going to provide nectar for some of these bees, not all. Some of these bees just go to get pollen.